All right, guys, you already know what it is. Happy New Year from 90 Minutes or More to y'all. We are just here with a quick little update about all the things that have been going on from the transition at the end of the year into 2026. Now, of course, so many things had happened in 2025. We witnessed a lot of ups and downs. We witnessed a lot of goals, and we're going to continue to witness that this year with the World Cup, officially it being a World Cup year, 2026. Hosted in 3 countries, as you know, United States, Mexico, and Canada. So yeah, it's going to be an amazing year in terms of football, the amount of footy that we're going to be able to watch, the matchups. I am just absolutely ready to roll and ready to rock when it comes to all the matches we're going to be watching now. Yeah, I just wanted to tap in quickly and give you guys some of the latest news, some of the latest updates, some interesting things that I've been following in the world of football that I feel like, deserve some highlights and some respect. So let's get right into it. Now, of course, as you know, it's always an interesting time the way they kind of position the AFCON, but the African Cup of Nations is currently going on, and we are currently in the semifinal round, and we have some big matchups for the semifinal. So I wanted to talk about that first. First off, we got Egypt going against Senegal. So of course, the classic matchup between Sadio Mané and Mo Salah leading their teams and leading their countries. So very exciting matchup. And then on the other side, we actually have Morocco going against Nigeria, which is going to be absolutely star-studded. Brahim Diaz, apparently, he feels more Moroccan than ever this year, and he's been lighting it up for the Moroccans, as well as Osimhen for the Nigerians. So it's going to be a fabulous matchup, honestly, to watch. And I'm so glad that we have some Titans in the last 4, and I know the final is going to be amazing as well. So that's that for the African Cup of Nations. It is now January 12th. So yeah, watch out for that this week. It's going to be crazy. Going to be a lot of sparks flying, a lot of goals, probably a lot of tough games, if not a lot of goals, right? Because those African matchups can get very tough and very intense. So let's see how that plays out. So the next thing we wanted to get into was a transfer that actually happened. A very interesting one, in my opinion, because it's one that we knew that was brewing up. We knew that it was going to happen, but just the way everything has kind of developed over the last year with this player, very interesting. So Antoine Semenyo, yes, of course, Antoine Semenyo, previously playing for Bournemouth, right? I'm not going to pull up all the stats and tell you how many goals he scored, but if you watched Antoine Semenyo anytime within the last 6 months, you know what type of level of player this is. This guy is the complete baller, and he has a high level of dedication. Now, I wanted to talk about it as well because he was originally purchased for, I believe, $20 million range for by Bournemouth. So Bournemouth goes, scoops him up for about 20 M's, and they bank on him having a good year. Now, Bournemouth is one of those teams that do use football analytics, and we've talked about that here on our page with how football analytics and the way data is being inputted is now kind of developing in a different way for football. So they definitely use that to their advantage when purchasing Antoine Semenyo. Manchester City has now purchased Antoine Semenyo for $72 million. So that's almost a $52 million, more than a $50 million return on investment. And I think that happened in a span of 18 months, right? So great move for Bournemouth, to be honest with you, to be able to capture that type of deal. And then Semenyo is a top quality player that's just going to bolster what Man City's doing right now. And he already scored a goal on his debut. So there's that, right? So for another transfer that actually happened recently, Endrick, which was a big story of him being benched by Xabi Alonso for pretty much the whole season, getting almost no game time, if anything. So we knew that, something was going to happen with his situation and that we're going to have to find, or they were going to have to find a new destination for him to at least get some game time, right? So end all be all, they ended up striking a deal with Lyon in France, and Endrick got loaned out to Lyon, so he already passed his medicals, and he actually started his first game this past weekend, which he also scored a debut goal. So very interesting story. He seemed very hungry in the match. He seemed like, they're finally letting me out the cage type thing. So amazing to see for him, and we're going to see how that story develops. There's also a financial clause I'm hearing with that, where the more games he starts, the less the burden of Lyon actually has to pay. So it actually favors Lyon to start playing this kid so that they actually won't have to pay the full loan salary during that time. So very interesting news. Another quick one, Brennan Johnson to Crystal Palace from Tottenham. I mean, I thought he was doing pretty well at Tottenham, but I guess, maybe he wanted to chase different pastures, and whatever was going on in Crystal Palace interested him. So he's going over there. So Brennan Johnson to Crystal Palace. Very interesting. Now, as if you were watching this past weekend, it was a El Clasico matchup in Saudi Arabia with Barcelona taking on Real Madrid for the Supercopa de España. Now, it was a very intense and interesting match. Personally, my beliefs, and I will make a follow-up video on this as well, is that Barcelona probably could have won, 3-0, 3-1 if it was for some better defending. However, yeah, there was a disaster side on Real Madrid, in my opinion, tactically, and Barcelona was able to conquer the win. Of course, with any Clasico, there's going to be referee touts about who was on whose side, and there was a red card handed out to Frankie de Jong that seemed a little over the top, and then maybe some missed calls early in the match as well. So very interesting to see how that played out. However, Barcelona won. They are Supercopa champions of Spain, Supercopa de España. But I mean, that's just the Super Cup. We just still got to see how the rest of the season plays out, because a lot of the times the team can win a Super Cup and then, maybe not win anything later down the line. However, I do think they are first right now in La Liga. So, that's definitely to their benefit. So yeah, they win that. A few weeks earlier, actually, just to touch on quickly, Napoli also did win the Supercopa d'Italia. So they won the Italian Super Cup. They took that home against Bologna, I believe that they faced. Yes, they faced Bologna in the final, and they were able to claim that cup. So good for them. However, when it comes to the top 3 leagues right now, of course, as we know, Arsenal is still in the lead. I believe they're 4 or 5 points clear of Manchester City. Inter are 3 points clear of AC Milan, 4 points clear of Napoli, so still kind of tight there. And then we also have Barcelona in the lead as well, with Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, Villarreal, I believe, scrapping out those next spots. So yeah, we will see how that plays out. I mean, it is kind of the halfway point at this point, right? So we're interested to see, are these teams going to be able to maintain for the next 6 months in the second half of the season? Or are there going to be some changes in what happens, and some different streaks in between? So we will find out. Last but not least, UCL returns January 20th. Yes, January 20th. So we still got another week to go till the UCL returns. I believe this week is definitely going to be about getting teams in shape for the leagues, for the cups. The FA Cup round had just passed as well this past weekend. So yeah, going to be very interesting to see how everything plays out. But I wanted to tap in quickly with you guys. Let you guys know as well that we will be doing more podcasts, more football content. We will be at more events, doing more vlogs this whole year. Of course, here in Toronto, it's a little snowy and a little, start to everybody's year, but don't let that phase you. We will be out there. We will be on the scene, 90 minutes or more. You already know. Once again, tapping in. Yeah, I'm gonna hit you guys up very soon. Make sure to leave a comment, drop a like, share, subscribe, and you already know we will be back.